Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be replacing the power steering pump in your 2002 to 2007 Jeep Liberty KJ. While we're at it, let's replace that Serpentine belt as well. This is going to cost a little bit. The Serpentine belt's about $25. Power steering pump is $75 to $150 if it's new or remanufactured. Power steering pump pulley, $20. High pressure line is $50 to $100. And some cheap power steering fluid, which is ATF plus 4, about $5. How long is this going to take? Well, if everything goes according to plan, it should only take you about 90 minutes. It's probably going to end up taking you closer to 2 or 3 hours, so plan accordingly. You do need quite a few tools for this. 10mm, 13mm socket plus extension, 18mm flare nut wrench, 15mm socket and a long breaker bar, 10mm, 17mm, and a 9/16 wrench, pulley remover installer, which is a free tool rental, long pliers with a 90-degree bend, and 3/4 inch drill bit and a battery-operated driver. Now remember, I don't have any special skills, tools, or training. If I can do it, so can you. First thing I want to do is just kind of get a lay of the land here. We're going to be removing that Serpentine belt here. We're going to be removing the power steering pump, which is right on top there. And we're going to be getting down into the nitty-gritty dirty down there, which is where the leak is showing. So all of the bottom power steering cables there that are covered. There's the replacement belt. There's the drain pan. I just got a brand new one. And there is the high pressure line. Here is the pump and the pulley. You can reuse the old pulley. I just go ahead and buy a new one. So first thing we need to do is drain some of the fluid. I have a kit here that I bought. It was a cheap kit and it didn't really work very well. There was a little sucker bulb on there that I tried to use and I could never get it to work. So I ended up just siphoning it with my mouth, and I don't recommend that you do that. I recommend that you actually get the proper kit to do it, but this was a cheap Harbor Freight kit and it didn't work very well. Now I don't have a diagram for where the belts go, so I took a picture, and if you don't have one, I highly recommend you take a picture as well so that you can use it as a reference. Then you need to get out the breaker bar with that nut on there with the wrench, and we're going to be loosening the pulley, and it's actually pretty easy to get off because that tensioner pulley has got the tension on that old belt, and that old belt was pretty stretched out, so it's going to be a lot harder to get the new one back on. Now we can start working on taking off the power steering pump itself. And we've got those 13mm bolts. There's 3 of them, and there's holes in the pulley. And you can just rotate it around, loosen them. In this case, I find it easier to remove the entire assembly and then remove the cables or the hoses from underneath it. All 3 of these bolts are the exact same length, so you don't need to keep track of what goes where. Good idea to just keep track of all of your bolts, but they're not specific. And I did take off the actual wrench on the end there because it made it just harder. Once you break it loose, you can just get them off there, finger loosening it, and pull them out. Now I was able to get 2 of the 3, but I wasn't able to get the bottom one out, and that's the one that I'm going to be working on here, and it'll come out with the entire power steering pump assembly. And then when I take it off, I'll just make sure that I'm very careful about keeping it and saving it so that I can put it with the other 2 that I have set aside. There we go. Now I'm just pushing it out so we can set that off to the side. Set it on top of the fuse box for now. Then you want to lift up the entire assembly, and this is so that you can get access to those power steering lines. The first one we're going to be taking off is the low pressure line because we're going to be saving that. And I'm not going to be putting a different clamp on there. I know some people don't like using those squeeze clamps. I don't have a problem with them. I have the pliers that I bought specifically to squeeze them, and I just squeeze it, wiggle it down, keep it on there. If you want, you can definitely put some new hose clamps on there, but this is the low pressure return line that we're taking off on this part. So it's not one that's critical to have a tight clamp on. It just needs to be snug so it doesn't come off. And I use the pliers to wiggle it off because this is the first time that it's actually come off. That is the original power steering line. And eventually it'll come off. Now there is just a little bit of fluid left in there because as good as you can get with the siphon, you're never going to get it all. So I'm just going to take a moment and let the rest of that fluid drain into the catch pan below. Then once you've got the remainder, I pull it up and out on top of the alternator. Twist it around, and now you can see the high pressure line that we're going to be removing. And that is nasty. That is where we've got a leak. We have a leak coming from the power steering pump and from that high pressure line. Now it does take a little bit to break that there, and that's where we're using that 17 millimeter. But once it's broken, because of all of the fluid on there, it's not corroded in place, and you can spin it freely once you've broken it loose. That's it. The power steering pump is out. Now we need to remove that high pressure line, and to remove it we need to get underneath that headlight assembly. So first we need to remove the grill, and then we need to remove the headlight. Now I did start with a 10 millimeter, but you can use a Torx, and I actually go back and forth between the 10 millimeter and the Torx. I just grabbed the Torx because it was easier and thinner than going and getting a whole bunch of extensions to fit in there. Now that you've removed the two screws from the headlight, you can then just remove the plug. I had to remove the plugs, the electrical plugs, with a flat-bladed screwdriver just to kind of pry it off, and then I used that flat-bladed screwdriver again to pry the fog light out. Some of you will have the fog light, some of you will not, and then you can unplug it just like you did with the headlight. Use the screwdriver. There's two bolts that are underneath there. This is the first bolt, and you can get to it. I did two wobble extensions to get around the actual plastic housing there. However, that is only the first of the second bolts, and they are very hard to get to. If you had a ratcheting wrench here, you might be able to get it. I didn't have a ratcheting wrench the right size, so I just drilled a hole through the plastic. And this is not structural, and it's plastic, so it's not really an issue to put this hole here. If I ever have to get access to this again, now I've got access, and just use that socket and another extension to get that bolt off. That bolt you don't have to undo all of the way, but you need to do it so that you can pull that out. The first one you did have to get out all the way. The second one you just need to get it to where you can slide the slide out. And as you can see there, it is all the way out. You know, that's what we're looking for on the bottom there. This is the nasty mess, and the top one is the high pressure line we're going to be removing, and the bottom one is the low pressure line that we're keeping. So this is where we use the flare nut wrench. 18 millimeter, and it's kind of tough to get in there, but this is the tool for it, and this is exactly what it's for. Works perfect, and you just need to break it loose, turn it a couple times, and then you can turn it by hand, which is exactly what I did. And then you can pull it out, and you can see there that the whole assembly is out. There's the nastiness on the bottom. Now we need to build the replacement bridge that actually gets bolted. there's all of the parts, including the O-ring. And this is the bridge that goes between that hard U on the line and has the mounting bracket that goes underneath the light. Now we just need to reinstall this. Tuck it back underneath there, and it goes back in exactly the way that it came out. Except, of course, it's a lot cleaner than it was. And then you screw those two bolts back in. The one closest to the firewall is the one that comes all the way out, and the one that is in the hole is the one that just needs to be tightened back down for the slotted part of the bracket. Now we need to put on one of the O-rings. Want to get them lubed up with some clean ATF. I just had that little cap and put some clean fluid on it, and then put it back onto the bottom of it that's going to actually get screwed back into the rack for the rack and pinion. Tighten it by hand at first. These are brass, so you don't want to force it, and you definitely don't want to over tighten it. So once you've got it seated by hand as tightly as you can, then you can get that flare nut wrench and put it back on and then tighten it up. Again, this is not something that you need to tighten, and you definitely don't want to over tighten too much. You just want to get it snug and then give it maybe an 1/8 or 1/4 of a turn beyond snug. And you can always give it the little wiggle test like I am there to make sure it's working. Now here is the new power steering pump. It will come with a cap over the return line, the low pressure return line, and on the other side it comes without the pulley. This is what we need the pulley for. Again, you can either reuse the old one or you can put a new one on. And I'll have a link to a video where I have already replaced the power steering pump pulley, and I will show you how to do that. Now that we've got that assembled, we need to put the high pressure line into the bottom. Now I put the pump into the cavity, and then I get the low pressure line on there, and I can get the pliers and move that on. This is actually the easy part. I'm just once you've got that on there, you can kind of adjust it, and you can see by my two different angles here, it's not particularly difficult, but it is a little bit hard to see there. And once you've got that on there, then I put a bolt on there just to temporarily hold it, but you don't need to do that. I just did that for ease of convenience for the time being. Then I take it back off so that I can rotate it around once I've got the power steering line, the high pressure line, routed properly. Then, because that area has been pretty dirty, I do need to wipe it off a little bit before I put the O-ring on there. So I just get a shop paper towel and wipe that all off, make sure that it's clean. You don't want to reintroduce any new dirt, and then put the new O-ring on there, give it one more wipe down, and then again we're going to turn it into the power steering pump by hand as much as you can. This end is brass as well, so you don't want to over tighten it. Just need to get it snug, and then maybe an 1/8 or 1/4 of a turn beyond snug. And I'm just using that same wrench that I used to take it off to put it back on. Now that it is snug, rotate it around. I've got all of the lines underneath it routed properly. And then you can line up the bolts. One of those 3 bolts, you can just grab that, run it through the power steering pump pulley, in through the power steering pump assembly, and then finger tighten it into the block itself. Don't need to get it too tight here, you just need to get it in there so that they're lined up, and then just put the bolts back in exactly the same way that you took them out, using that same 13mm. And you've got all 3 again. You just go around tightening them up slowly. And I did find a torque spec on there. 35 foot-pounds is the torque spec. Now it's time to put the belt on. And you see I referenced the picture that I took. This is the challenging part because that belt is brand new and it doesn't stretch nearly as well as that old one did. So once you have it routed, then you get it over all of the different pulleys, and you need to get it kind of in place for where the tensioner pulley is, and then you get out your breaker bar again, and you can move that back onto it, and you really have to move this one a lot. I had to move it probably 150% further to put it back on than I did to take it off, just because that new belt is a lot tighter. Once you have that belt on, time to put some power steering fluid in there. And for those of you who have been keeping track, I'm now finally replacing the old power steering pump cap with the new one. And the reason why I say some cheap power steering fluid here is because I would recommend that you flush the power steering fluid after about 500 miles or so, and you want to leave it off, the power steering pump cap off, and you give your vehicle a start. The first thing that we're doing is with it on level ground and just starting it up, making sure that it doesn't explode or spray fluid anywhere, and just make sure that everything is back and running and that your serpentine belt is routed properly. Then turn it off, jack it up off of the ground, turn it back on. The reason why we jack it off of the ground is because we want to turn the wheels. General rule of thumb here is you want to be able to do 3 locks, 3 to the left, 3 to the right. I don't do 3 full locks. What I do is I just work it back and forth, probably 6 or 8 times, but I go further and further each time. As you can see here, I'm turning to the passenger side, then I'm turning to the driver's side, and I just go a little bit further each time. And I'm showing this part in real time because this is not something that you want to speed up. Absolutely want to take your time on. Do this part right. This is what's getting any air out of the system. And that's the reason why you leave the cap off, is that allows any of the air bubbles that are trapped in the system to come up and out, because the system is pressurized, so you don't want to leave the cap on the system because it's got nowhere to go. And then once you've got it done and locked all the way to each side, I think this is the last turn here that I've got, all the way to driver's side. You can hear it kind of groan at the very end there. That lets you know that you've reached the end of the travel. And then all the way over onto the passenger side and get the wheels close to straight because you are done. And you're going to want to lower it back down to the ground. Now all that's left to do is to put the front end back together, fog light, headlights, and the grille. Now that that's all buttoned back up, there are a few lessons that I learned that I wanted to share with you. First of all, check for missing parts. I was missing an O-ring, and that added 45 minutes to my repair time to go to the parts store. Speaking of, pad your work time, because I also needed to go buy a tool, and that added an additional 45 minutes to my repair time. And expect the unexpected. I was not expecting the surprise of the bolt underneath that headlight. But in the end, it was worth it, because I saved over $100 versus a repair shop, and I did the work myself. Thanks for watching, everybody.